It's the time of the month where we play TBR games, and for this month in September, I have a new board. I've been playing with the same board for about 2 years now, so I'm really excited to have created this one, and we've done some really exciting things with this board. This is my third Snakes and TBR Stacks board. I leaned into themes on this one, so they are color-coded. You're gonna see like green ones that match and orange ones that match. I don't know where another orange is, it's over here. So I have things like cover color, items on the cover, what the POVs are. I will do a walkthrough in this video of every prompt on the board. You can see all the cute little doodles. But first, let's talk about some of my basic reading plans for September, and then we'll dive into playing this. In September, I have two main reading plans. One which you know, which is I need to pick my spfbo finalist. I'm a judge for a blog contest called spfbo, or Self-Published Fantasy Blog Off, and my deadline for picking my finalist is end of October. So I need to get on that because I like to read spooky books in October, so I like to get my finalist picked in September. My second vlog that I'm working on is a secret, but I think you might be able to guess it after this video, so I'm curious to see if anyone guesses it. And then I'm participating in one public readathon. My friend Monica is a co-host, so I've joined her team. I know that I can get points per pages, so I can get points for anything I read, but there are some like extra tropey prompts. It is a romance readathon, so there's like an enemies to lovers prompt, a age gap prompt, things like that, so you should definitely check it out, but it works for anything as you do get page count points. And then I have a Patreon readathon running this month, the first weekend, whenever the one weekend kind of starts in the middle of like the last weekend of the last month, it always confuses me. The weekend of Saturday the 7th, we have a Patreon readathon. We're playing Snakes and TBR Stacks. You can choose which board you want. I have all 3 boards prepared for everybody, and everyone will just get to roll for their own prompts on the board, and we'll spend a weekend reading together. There will be sprints and things like that. I'm really excited about it. We've done it before. It's always a fun little readathon. That's open to my top 3 tier, so it starts with the land dragons. That's all the information I think I need to tell you, so let's go back into the board. Let's go do a walkthrough of all the prompts, and then let's do a refresher on some of the rules. Okay, let's go through all of the squares. We have physical TBR. This has to be a book that I read physically, or on my physical TBR, I guess is the better way to put it. There's also a video that happens on my channel every single January that involves this. Pet pick. I now have kittens who like treats, so we can finally do some pet picks. This is a yellow or orange cover, predominantly. Gods. The book has to be involving gods. Main character could be gods or could be religion in it. Next up we have a backlist. This is a book published 2 years in the past. And then we have a genre, which is fantasy. We go upwards and we have weapon. This is a weapon on the cover of the book. We have another color, so black or white cover predominantly. We have our first snake, and that's on audio, so I have to read an audio book. Pretty easy for me normally. We have our first happy one, which is a wild. This means that I have to pick a book for my TBR at that moment, but it can be anything I want. If you hit the square, you move up. Human. This means that the main character or like characters in the book have to be humans. It's in the god category, predominantly about humans. After that, we have building. Pink, which means building on the cover of the book. And we go up, and we hit a snake. Multi-POV literally just means it has to have multiple POVs. It cannot just have one POV. I think it's a pretty easy square for me. You notice that the easy ones typically have snakes on them. Next up, we have new. So this has to be a new release or a new book to my TBR. Could be a stretch, but it was predominantly planned to be a new release. We have a pink or red cover up next. I didn't have a red marker, so this is kind of purple, but it was closest I could get. I don't really like the color red. We have our next really happy square, which is skip, which means I just get to skip this roll. I don't have to put a book on my TBR at all, and I go up the ladder. After that, we have pull pick. You'll notice that the purple ones are picks. So pet pick was earlier, and now we have pull pick. Typically, I use my Patrons for a pull pick, so this is also a Patreon pick. After that, we have hyped. This is blue, like new and backlist were. This is a hyped book, a book I've heard a lot about. Then we go up and we have animal. This is like my favorite drawing just because it's so ugly. This is an animal on the cover. After that, we have another happy pick, which is -1. I get to take a book off my TBR when I land on this, and I go up the ladder. Then we have an ebook for a format, just like we had audio and physical TBR earlier. First person POV. I feel like this is self-explanatory. A creature. So like human and gods, there has to be some sort of creature, fae, vampires, whatever it is. Ghosts, monsters, something. And then we have romance as a genre. This is typically romantasy for me. And we go up. We have blue or green on the cover. Another happy square, which is a mood read, which means I do have to read a book, but I can read anything I want throughout the month. I don't have to put it on my TBR right then and there. And we'd go up. After that, we have nature. Pink are things on the cover. so nature on the cover. Another purple, which is my picks, so spinner wheel to pick my book. Third person POV, opposite of first person. Then we have pink object on the cover, which is also a snake, but a super easy one in my opinion. We go up, we have dual POV. Then we have a friend pick, little friendship bracelet drawing. A last year release, I read a lot of these. Then we have spooky for genre, and spooky is a snake. We go all the way down. We have single POV, opposite of dual POV, and multi POV. And then we have person on the cover, which is also a snake. And we start all the way back at the beginning then. Okay, now that you've seen the board, let me know down below what your favorite prompt is and what your favorite doodle is. My favorite doodle is the hyped doodle, but also close second to the animal on the cover doodle with the little duck that is so horrendous. And my favorite prompt is probably the pet pick. As most of you know, I did have an elderly cat that passed away this year, but we got 2 new kittens. Mickey was never a treat cat, so I could never do pet picks, but with these new 2 kittens, I'm really excited that we will be able to do some pet picks, so I am excited about that prompt. Rule-wise, most things are staying the same. I will be doing 5 rolls if I completed my last month TBR, 6 if I did not. If I hit a snake, I go down the snake and I add another roll to the board. If I hit a ladder, I go up the ladder, and it's kind of like a reward prompt. The only thing I'm officially adding this year, I did it at some point last year and I really liked it. If there's a prompt that I really don't want, I can re-roll, but I also have to add another roll. I think this will just help me feel more motivated to play the game, and like sometimes there's just a prompt that you don't want. Sometimes, some months, I'm just like, please, dear God, do not land on that square, and then I land on that square. So this will just help me with that. Really simple game, so let's get into my first roll. First square. Roll 1 on the new board. 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh, wild, we're being blessed. Roll 1. I don't know if it was just trying to lull me into a sense of security or if the board's just going to be nice to me forever, but we landed on wild. So this is one of those really nice prompts that I like. Wild means I can pick any book, but I do have to put a book on my TBR currently, but it can be any book I want. There's no prompt. I'm going to be picking one of my spfbo books. Deb picked for a semi-finalist. She picked Lizard, Skin, and Sharpened Steel. I'm going into most of my spfbo books pretty blind. I only know what the person who read them has reviewed and said in their reviews. I want to be shocked and surprised, and I'm hoping to be really shocked by this one. The cover of this book, the vibes of this book don't scream Cassidy to me, but they don't also scream Deb to me, and Deb really enjoyed this one. So I'm hopeful, and I'm curious to figure out what this is all about. I do actually love dinosaurs. Like, Land Before Time and Jurassic Park are my things, like my jams. Like, whenever my parents were always trying to get me to watch Disney movies, but I just wanted to watch Land Before Time again. So hopefully this will give me the good dinosaur vibes, and I will really, really love it. 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Roll 2, we landed on third person. I'm going with another spfbo book, Blood of the Stars. This is a chonky beast. I am really excited about this one. Mel compared this to my finalist last year, Master of the Void. She said they gave like similar vibes, and I had so much fun with Master of the Void that I'm really excited for this one. The audiobook did recently come out, so I'm excited that I can get that because like look at the size of this thing. I did check, it is third person. I need to review it in a video for spfbo. That's all I have to say. I truly don't know anything about them, so you gotta watch the spfbo video. Roll 3. 11. I think we're safe. Oh my gosh. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Roll 3, we landed on gods. This is a prompt that was on my first board and I brought back for this board. This means that there has to be gods as a predominant character of some sort. Character is up to interpretation in the story. So I would even just count religion as a giant character in most stories. But for this one, I'm picking up Ashen Feather by S.M. Gaither. This is the second book in the Flame and Sparrow series. The love interest, the male main character, is literally a god. He is the god of fire, and he has a lot of god friends. So I definitely think that this one counts for the god square. Flame and Sparrow followed our main character, who was an elf, and she blamed the gods for the death of her sister. So she has sworn revenge against the gods, and she will do anything to take them down, including joining up with the gods. She ends up becoming a acolyte to the god of fire, making a bargain with him to take him down from the inside. But once on the inside, she realizes not everything is as it seems, but the tables are too late to turn back. I'm really excited for this sequel to figure out what is going on. The last book ended on a pretty good cliffhanger. This is a duology, so I'll be finishing up a series. Very, very, very excited about this. 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Roll number 4, we landed on building on the cover. I really thought these cover prompts were super fun. For this one, I'm picking up the second book in this series. This is a joint. This is the first book and the second book, A Queen Comes to Power. Both sides of this book have a building on the cover, so I'm going to count it. This is a sequel that I need to get to in order to figure out if I want to continue on with this series. Yes, I own this beautiful edition, but I actually technically gave the first book 2 stars, but I was intrigued to continue and I knew I wanted to continue. I think it was a little bit of wrong book, wrong time for me, so I'm excited to continue just to see if it's going to be worth it for me to continue collecting this series, because this is such a stunning edition and it is personalized to me that I will keep this one, but there's no need for me to continue collecting more books in the series if I do not enjoy it. Honestly, it's been so long that I don't really remember what An Heir Comes to Rise is about. Maybe I need to reread the first book. It's something about a character who has dreams. She enters other people's dreams and then she finds someone that she's not supposed to have found. It's like the Fae, and the Fae are like big, bad, mean characters in this world, and he keeps her secret for some reason. And you know, like every Fae romantasy, we figure out that not all is as it seems within her and why she has those powers. I think I just felt like the first book was very like every other romantasy. I'm hoping book 2 like strays from that a little bit. 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. A skip. And our last roll, we got skip, which means I can just skip this roll. I do not have to put a book on my TBR, nothing, which leaves me with a 4 book only TBR for you guys, because it's not 4 books only, because I have 5 spfbo books I need to read. This worked out really in my favor because actually at the time of me filming this, I believe only 3 of my semifinals have been announced, so I didn't really want to put a lot of them on this TBR, but I also didn't want to spoil my other video too much, so I'm really happy that we only landed on 4. I would love to know what you're reading this month down below in the comments. And if you're not feeling chatty, leave me a house emoji for that building on the cover prompt. And if you're intrigued about what spfbo is, since I've been talking a lot about it, I will leave my little explanation video on the screen for you. And have yourselves an absolutely remarkable day.